and that's about the Russians. Well, Philip, you take this one away because it just speaks totally to your lifetime of experience and background. The Russians want to launch a nuclear what?
Well, there was a lot of speculation about an incident regarding the Russians that was going to have a major impact on US national security. And after a lot of investigation, and I think it's come on the front page of the Telegraph today, it's Russia wants to put a nuclear weapon in space. Now, that would be contraventional to the 1969 Outer Space Treaty, where space is not to be militarized in any way, shape or form.
But Philip, tell us what they could do. If they did that, what could they do with that nuclear weapon while it was in space?
The scary thing about this is there's two things that a nuclear weapon in space could be used for. One is to explode and create what's called an electromagnetic pulse that would disable all of our satellites and everything that's in space. Now, the military satellites and all the rest are supposedly hardened against this, so they should be able to survive. But that's very theoretical. And that could have major implications on our ability to protect ourselves.
And the other thing about the time we have to respond to the nuclear attack?
The other thing is more worrying. If they put a nuclear warhead in space, which is targeted at the Earth, the US president has got the authority to launch US nuclear weapons within about 10 minutes. That's the length of time it would take a missile to go from a Russian submarine west of Bermuda to the United States. If that warhead is already in space, that comes down to minutes, not 10 minutes, a lot less.
So let's just hold that thought there for a moment, because this is absolutely fascinating, something that I didn't know before I met Philip. So POTUS, President of the United States, has 15 minutes to respond to, so what he basically does is there is a briefcase which is called the football, which contains the nuclear codes. The president has that amount of time to open that briefcase and activate the nuclear codes. Now, my question, Philip, is what happens if the president of the United States is in the bath?
Well, if he's in the bath, I think his aide would have to come in and get him to break the biscuit, which is actually where the codes are held in there. So if he's travelling, the football goes with him, which is the big briefcase. If he's in the White House or elsewhere, he can go through the Situation Room, but he'd be picked up and physically taken to the Situation Room or get the communications into there as long as he's broken the code. Once the President of the United States makes the decision to launch nuclear weapons, it has to be verified that it's the President of the United States doing it by the Secretary of State for Defence or his or her stand-in, but the order cannot be countermanded in the way the US Constitution works at the moment.
So we have one president at the moment, Biden, who thinks his shoes are talking to him, and we have the possibility of President Trump. Becca, does this fill you with confidence?
Not so much. It's terrifying, isn't it? And I mean, I kind of feel like Putin is also this slightly unhinged character that would pursue this kind of terrifying technology. But you're right. I mean, we haven't got great candidates, have we, with the biscuit and the football?
Yeah. And there are two things that could potentially stop it. So if the US cabinet decides that President Biden is no longer capable and fit of making those decisions...
Well, he's not capable or fit to give evidence in court.
Exactly. They can bring in the 25th, the 25th Amendment and have those powers taken away from him. The only other method of stopping it is if the military officers who've sworn an oath to follow orders then decide personally to break those orders and not to launch the nuclear weapons. That's scary.
That's very scary.
Yeah.